a creeper
Back
body with
on the
Santa's head.
boys. Back on the boys, which is the whole point of this discussion. That's what I want to talk about.
Come
So,
on, Ryan. You gotta admit, don't you just want to get off topic?
not really. I'd rather stay on topic. 'Cause I'm trying to. Well, I don't want to say convince. I'm just like I just want
Convey a
to talk
point.
to Kaden about why I think the show's badly written. I don't care if I convince him or not. Uh, that's not my goal.
Then what is your goal?
Convey a
I
point.
literally just said my goal. It's just to convey my feelings on why I think this is a bad show, why it's poorly written. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, Ryan, can you shut up,
Understandable.
please?
Here,
Understandable.
come on.
Yeah, let's cancel
So-
Ryan on Twitter.
Yep. So I think this unfortunately brings us to Stormcont and how she is revealed to be a racist. She's a very racist person.
Damn it.
She calls the super terrorist a yellow bastard as she kills him on top of the apartment building after she like just for no reason killed a bunch of fucking like minorities.
You're sure this is the way? This is how my mom.
It was probably like, wow, man, VOD has to fucking clean up like just a whole bunch of shit for no fucking reason. Nice
Well, they can
collateral
just
damage.
again, it's stated in the show. They have the easy way out of saying, "Man, that evil super terrorist murdered these innocent people."
You can't be serious.
They did.
On the ground.
Yeah.
Now.
Plus,
So my
Vought
point
is like
is
Sherry.
Vought is like super duper corrupt and will get any government officials and law enforcement to just shut the hell up and sweep it under the rug.
You tie her up now or she dies.
I know that. So that's not even my criticism. My criticism, and this goes on when like more of Stormfront comes out, how she was Liberty, she did the racist murder, and then how she's a Nazi. But I do not like how they tried to do this guilt by association thing with Stormcont.
Get over here.
What do you mean?
It's basically up until like that one moment where she calls him a yellow bastard, and she's like, oh, and everyone's like, oh, she's just like really racist, I guess. She said some like pretty fucking reasonable things.
Bye to Claire.
Okay, I'll go.
Like for instance, she was on the interview
You better be taking
with
this week off.
Stormfront, and Maeve was supposed to be there, but she had the emergency with Elena. If you remember that interview, she's like, hey, yeah, she's like, yeah, why does it even matter if I have a dick or a vag? Like we're all soups here, like we're all fine. I was like, yeah, that's reasonable. And then she, when the writer guy was like writing, he was going over the plan for the movie that they're about to do when they do it later on in the season. She like criticizes his writing. He's like, why are you so shit at writing female characters and shit?
Stay safe, Sherry.
I was like, yeah, like that's reasonable too. Like, I'm pretty sure that was like a John Sweden jab at him, even though he's wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a female character and really good, but whatever. I was like, yeah, that's reasonable too. And so my problem with that is that her then becoming a super like racist, like Nazi person, that's supposed to imply that like I'm guilty because like guilt by association. It's like, oh, she said these like reasonable things. Oh, but now she's a racist Nazi Hitler. It's like, oh. It's like, what the fuck is this?
So,
do you see how I kind of have a
what you're
problem with
trying to
that?
say is what you're trying to say that like they're trying to associate like, hey, you should write better female characters with Nazism.
So I think they do. So just 2 points. One, I think it's funny how the only person who criticizes writing and says like at all like says like any like slight conservative viewpoint turns out to be a Nazi. I think that's very odd because I'm not pissed that they're making fun of Nazis. I'm pissed that they think I am a Nazi and are thus making fun of me.
Ryan, are you a Nazi?
I'm afraid to tell you that I am not a Nazi.
You're afraid to tell me that you aren't? So you are?
Shit, you got me. I drink water. You know who else drank water? Hitler. And that becomes, oh no, it's way more than that. Yeah, so first off, because I will be discussing like political shit later, even if all that political shit wasn't there, the show would still be poorly written. That's not my only problem with the show, just to be clear. But it's there. The show has a very like anti right wing, like anti Trump messages in it, especially in I think episode 6 and the beginning of episode 7, where they literally show a neckbeard committing a hate crime because he looked at memes. It's like how can you be any less subtle than that? That seems so fucking bad.
Well, he's not supposed to be looking at memes, is he?
They make no attempt to show that he didn't have a mental health problem. What? You saw that he had a mental. What alluded him to having a mental health problem to you? How did they convey that? That's not going to hold up. That does not prove at all that he has a mental condition.
Is Stormfront another My Little Pony name?
For fuck's sake. I've also been calling her StormCon, so probably not.
Is this person you're talking about a brony? Because I think that is a mental health problem.
They make no allusion to that. Also, so I don't really want to talk about the Deep because the show in season 2 does fucking absolutely nothing with them and it goes nowhere. But just real quick,
You know what was a
So-
super weird scene though?
the fucking Fresca shit.
No,
What, like,
the gills.
They did
scene.
that because they thought it was funny. See, so that too. So what they completely missed out on was this like redemption arc for the Deep, and it would have started with that scene. He was like, "Oh, I don't like being sexually assaulted. That hurt. I should now feel bad for what I did." And it could have been a whole arc, but they just like it went nowhere, and it basically came to, "Oh, doesn't the Deep suck?" And he's funny because how much he sucks, and that was it. Like that was the arc. and the Church of the Collective just being like a cult and using like fucking Fresca. I like the Fresca shit was so weird. I was like, are they putting shit in the Fresca that makes people like follow them? Like what the fuck is it with this? It was literally just a joke. It was just they thought it was funny that they keep drinking Fresca. I was like, oh okay. That was it. That's all that was. Well, the
Actually,
main dude
I
fucking
do like the
dies.
way
Remember?
I do like the way they poked a jab at cancel culture. It's like, oh,
They
we're
did
not
do that.
supporting the Green Arrow knockoff anymore. And the Deep's just like that guy helped me through like the roughest patch of my whole life. And they're just like, yeah, he was toxic though. And he's like, you know, he really was.
Yeah, so I do want to quickly mention and like give the show like some credit. There are times where they go like against the Hollywood narrative, like the very left-leaning Hollywood narrative, and like they make fun of it, and I appreciate that. Like the one where Maeve and her girlfriend Elena, and like they like with those scenes, they were trying to say like, hey, isn't it ridiculous that Hollywood like uses gay people to like sell shit and
And like
they don't give it. They don't actually give a shit about gay people. They're just using them.
the stupid
like, yeah, that's
Brave
true.
Maeve like granola bars or whatever.
Yeah, that was all great. That was completely like making fun of those type of like the corporations, like like pretending that they give a shit about like gay pride and all that.
You know another point I saw brought up in a review though. Like, isn't
What?
it kind of amazing that Amazon has this show mocking giant corporations?
That is pretty ironic. It's super duper ironic that Amazon Prime has a Mr. Robot on it, which is like extremely anti-corporation. That show.
Wait, Mr. Robot is on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to watch Mr. Robot actually. I didn't know that.
Dude, watch it. It's great. I love it. And just also to prove that I don't just hate shows that have like different political leanings. Mr. Robot is pretty left leaning, and I still love it. So just so you know, it's not the only reason why I hate The Boys. Okay, so I like that's the Deep. That's my problem with the Deep. I'm not gonna fucking talk about the Deep anymore. Well, except for the whale scene, but that has a whole bunch of other issues. But yeah, the Deep sucks.
Actually, it was a dolphin.
It was a sperm whale. The one that was not a dolphin. I'm talking about something else.
Oh wait, are we talking about different scenes? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the one where like the dolphin crashes through the windshield.
Yes.
Yeah, and never mind.
Must be
Yeah, so we're still on episode 4. I want to talk a little bit about the scene where Stormfront is discovered to be Liberty, and that Black Lady tells the story of how her brother got killed and how Stormfront is a racist who hates the black people.
bastard is the police chief?
And so this is something like with the whole show. It wants to be edgy, and it's being false edgy, which is the worst kind of edgy to be. So they want to portray Stormfront as this incredibly like racist, like white nationalist Nazi, but they don't have the guts to have her say the N-word, because that would. And so she'll say like their race plus like stupid insult, like yellow bastard is what she called the Asian suit terrorist. It's like that's pretty fucking tame for what is supposed to be like a super racist Nazi. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Like they won't commit to her being super racist. Like they're not like just for instance, think of any Quentin Tarantino movie and how like racists are portrayed in that. He is not afraid to have racists say the N-word a lot because they would. Like they're racist. And they use it in like very racist manners, just to be clear.
Ryan, don't be mad. I haven't seen any Quentin Tarantino movies.
That's fine. I'm just using it as an example. Like, for example, Django Unchained. Leonardo DiCaprio's character is a plantation slave owner, right? And he's portrayed that way. He's portrayed in a very realistic, racist manner, and he's not afraid to say the N-word. He's not afraid to say very racist things about Black people and how they're inferior. And he's portrayed like an actual like Quentin Tarantino is not a pussy. He's not being edgy for edgy's sake, and he's not being fake edgy. He's portraying a race in a realistic manner, while The Boys does not, because they're pussies. And in fairness, that's not even really it's kind of a problem with the writing, but that's mostly just a problem with like who the showrunners are, what type of people they are. Like they want to make this like racist character, but they can't commit to it because they're afraid of hurting people's feelings, and I think that's stupid. Anyone want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think you're racist.
Understandable.
I disagree with every point that you said.
Alright, we can move on. That was just like one thing I was just really annoyed
Yeah,
by.
and I disagree with it.
Okay, that's great.